inviting AWS. I think like you, the last year has been really about helping our customers, right? Not only with their businesses, but really adjusting to the changing times that have been placed upon all of us due to the pandemic. One example comes to my mind, which is really involving Nutanix and our AWS Digital Workplaces competency. AWS launched this Digital Workplaces competency to help customers identify and adopt new solutions for virtual workplaces. And Nutanix, in fact, was a launch partner with the Nutanix Frame solution, which provides desktop as a service and runs on AWS. Our customers are asking us for hybrid solutions because they often have a need to place the application at their physical location for low latency requirements or local data residency and compliance requirements. And at the same time, they want to leverage our services in AWS. We are always guided by customer feedback, and we work closely with Nutanix to deliver these hybrid solutions for our customers. And, in closing, I want to say that Andy Jassy, the new Amazon CEO, consistently says, right, that AWS is still at the very early stages of what is possible for customers and partners in the cloud. And I'm personally very excited about our partnership together. And I want to say a sincere thanks for everything that we have been accomplishing together, both from an innovation perspective and also from a customer perspective.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Day 2 of .Next. As you know, Nutanix was founded on the vision of making infrastructure complexity invisible and an obsession with our customer success. We pioneered hyper-converged infrastructure technology to do just that. Our customers have told us that our solution is what they love because of its simplicity, and our 90+ NPS score for 7 years in a row is a proof of that. Now, while we started our journey to making infrastructure complexity invisible, we are well on our way to making cloud complexity invisible so you can focus on your business outcomes and innovations. Our mission is to delight customers with a simple, open, hybrid, multi-cloud software platform with rich data services to build, run, and manage any application. Our product portfolio is also not dramatically simplified and streamlined as the Nutanix Cloud Platform, which comprises hybrid cloud infrastructure, multi-cloud management, along with unified storage, both structured and unstructured data, database services, and desktop services to support any application or workload at any location. Now, in this keynote today, we will take a deeper look at the product innovations across all the elements of this Nutanix Cloud Platform, starting with HCI innovations, then database services, and finally, cloud innovations. So get your tea, coffee, get comfortable, get ready for an in-depth look at the innovations our engineers have been working on. To get us started, please help me welcome my friend and Nutanix's CTO and engineering leader, Rajiv Mirani.
Thanks, Monica. Over the next few minutes, we will cover some of the innovations we've delivered with AOS 6, including support for a full infrastructure as a service stack with enhanced capabilities across virtual networking, AHV, and disaster recovery. We have also focused on security and made it easy for organizations to implement a zero-trust security model across all their IT operations. And finally, we continue to invest in our core storage stack for enhanced performance and efficiency for database and analytics workloads. To kick us off, please welcome Luke Congdon, Senior Director of Product Management, to cover AHV, virtual networking, and disaster recovery.
Thank you, Rajiv. We've had a really great year for AHV with a lot of great new features and a great new partnership. We're seeing really significant user adoption, and more customers are choosing AHV as their hypervisor of choice for their data center. Let's talk about some of our great new features, starting with multi-tenant private clouds, giving you connectivity with overlay networks for all of your workloads. where you can build once and deploy your VMs anywhere. Next is automatic DR failover with HV Metro clustering. Your mission control applications require zero downtime and 100% availability so that you have zero RPO and zero RTO. With SyncRep, you get it all. You get automatic data replication across clusters, a VM recovery runbook, and an uptime witness, giving you a guaranteed RPO and RTO. Next is memory overcommit, a long-standing ask of many of our customers. With memory overcommit, we give you the ability for HV to dynamically manage memory and give you greater VM density for your data centers so that you can configure your VMs with as much virtual memory as you need, even when it exceeds physical RAM, and HV will gracefully manage all of your memory for you. And finally, we're very happy to announce that Red Hat and HV have partnered to bring you OpenShift Container Platform for Kubernetes and containerization as a preferred platform on Nutanix and HV, as well as giving you HV as a certified hypervisor for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. That comes with Red Hat Satellite Server and support from both companies, letting you know that you can confidently run all of your enterprise applications on Nutanix. Let's take a closer look at virtual networking with Flow. We recently GA'd our virtual private cloud VPCs to give you a multi-tenant overlay completely built in by Nutanix. This gives you self-service, cloud-scale networking for your infrastructure providers, eliminating the long delays that can sometimes occur while waiting for your virtual networking teams to interact with your physical networking teams. Now, this gives you lots of great features, including subnets, NAT, floating IPs, and many more, everything that you need. As well as, Flow also includes network isolation security, giving you your first line of defense against network intrusion attacks and bad actors. Together, this gives you a complete networking solution for cloud-scale, easy-to-use networking for all of your applications. Now let's talk about our business continuity and disaster recovery suite features. We've got a couple great features to announce, including first a DR observability dashboard, giving you full visibility into your DR SLAs, your topologies, your configurations, and how your RPOs are being maintained, so that you get all the information that you need in a single-to-use dashboard for configuration and maintenance and control. We also have built-in DR encryption. Now, you may know for many years, Nutanix has offered data at rest encryption with a built-in software solution or the choice of a hardware solution with self-encrypting drives and a native Nutanix key management server. Now we're offering data in transit encryption so that all of your data from origin over the WAN to destination is encrypted without the need for any third-party hardware solutions, giving you a full solution for your DR planning from visibility, configuration, control, and encryption. Let's take a look at this in action with a demo from Mike. Over to you, Mike.
Thanks, Luke. We'll start off today by showing Metro availability for AHV. Metro availability allows for a zero RPO and near zero RTO for applications that are housed in data centers with less than 5 milliseconds of latency between them, with automatic failover, all managed easily from Prism Central. Let's see how it works. Here we are in Prism Central. We're going to verify that the virtual machine that we're using for this demo is only on the source cluster. So we'll come up here and we'll click the name of the virtual machine. And we can see that that virtual machine exists on 9-2. We're also going to check to make sure that it has a protection policy and a recovery plan associated with it, which it does. The next step for us is going to be to simulate a site failure. The witness service inside of Prism Central is going to notice that the source site is down, and after a 30-second default timer, will attempt to bring up the virtual machine in the target site. Here we see that we're in the recovery plan summary view, and we notice the witness just executed an unplanned failover. We see that it has been successful, and now we're going to go look at the actual server and verify that it's up. Next, we will show how the new DR dashboard can help customers see and understand how their DR solution is functioning quickly and easily, and also how it can help administrators troubleshoot problems. Let's take a look at a few of the widgets now. The Protected Entities widget shows how many virtual machines in your environment are protected and if any of them have not met their RPO in the last 24 hours. To the right of that is the replication tasks, which show how many ongoing replications there are currently and if any of the replication tasks have failed in the last 24 hours. The Recovery Readiness widget helps businesses understand if a disaster were to strike, how their DR plan would execute through the testing and validation of recovery plans. Businesses can measure the success of DR testing through a detailed summary view and also use this for compliance purposes. Lastly, the configuration alerts widget shows critical, warning, and informational alerts in your DR environment over the last 24 hours and what entity it pertains to. As you can see, we now have end-to-end visibility to help administrators effectively manage their DR environment with Nutanix. Thanks, and back to you, Luke.
Thank you, Mike. That was a great demo. I'm sure customers are going to absolutely love it. Over to you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Luke. AHV adoption continues to grow, and with these new capabilities, customers will find it even easier to migrate their workloads to AHV. Now, one of the reasons customers prefer AHV as their hypervisor is that they get to manage more of their infrastructure stack with the simplicity of Prism. We continue to enhance Prism, and one of the areas that we focused on this year is around governance. Our projects and quotas capability allows IT to allocate resources to their users while retaining control over capacity limits and role-based access control. This now applies across all of Prism. In Calm, we're adding support for approval chains, so customers can implement an ITSM-like workflow for a well-governed self-service experience. Calm also gets support for a scheduler, so customers can create jobs, either one-time or recurring, that they can use to execute runbooks, blueprints, and application actions. Another area that we are focused on is more ecosystem reach with support for more platforms and automation tooling. We have added support for IT operations for the VMware virtualization stack, just as we have for the Nutanix stack. And we also added integration support for Ansible, Terraform, and PowerShell, so customers can reuse their existing automation tooling in the Nutanix infrastructure. Now let's talk about security. Security is a top-of-mind problem for most CIOs, yet most find it incredibly hard to achieve. To talk about how we are making security simpler for our customers, please welcome Ketan Shah, Vice President of Product Management.
Thank you, Rajiv. Our vision is to make security invisible by making it simple and frictionless. The most effective approach starts with a platform with security built in. I'm pleased to announce that our cloud platform has been certified for the Department of Defense's approved product list after completing rigorous cybersecurity testing. We're strengthening the gates to the platform with enhanced identity access controls and enhanced key management. We're delivering a security dashboard in Prism to give you a bird's eye view into the security posture of your infrastructure. Now, we don't just stop there. We're adding native controls to protect your workloads and your data. And finally, we're making it easy to integrate our platform into your security ecosystem for defense in depth. Let's take a closer look through a ransomware attack scenario. Nearly all attacks start with exploits of vulnerabilities on unpatched systems. The solution is patch, patch, patch. The problem is, with so much going on, where do you start? To simplify this, we're integrating Nutanix Cloud Platform with Qualys's vulnerability management solution to empower you with application-centric risk metrics to help you streamline and prioritize patching. Next, if an attacker does gain persistence, they move around laterally. To stop this, you can use microsegmentation. The challenge is, how do you determine what's good that should be allowed versus what's not? Here, we're enhancing our flow microsegmentation offering. Using machine learning and observing VM traffic, we can automatically recommend and generate protection policies. Finally, it's all about the data. Here, we're strengthening our protection for files with the ability to detect and block up to 4,000 ransomware signatures. This is something we can do uniquely because we operate so close to the data layer. To see this in action, I'd like to invite Jason Burns to walk us through a demonstration.
Thanks, Ketan. Now, let's look at the typical ransomware attack chain, where an attacker gains a foothold in a desktop VM by fishing for an unpatched vulnerability, expands this footprint using unrestricted access within the data center, then exports and encrypts valuable data. Now let's imagine this same attack and how we prevent it using Nutanix tools. Flow Security Central's integration with the Qualys Vulnerability Management System can allow us to see this unpatched vulnerability and take an action on it before it's exploited. So here in this case, the Security Central dashboard has bubbled up these old, unpatched Microsoft Office memory corruption vulnerabilities, some of the top most exploited vulnerabilities on the web today. Thanks to these alerts, we can take an action, such as a crossplay playbook, or creating a ServiceNow ticket so that this system is manually patched. Now, if we imagine the next step in ransomware, the spread, we could use Flow Security Central security planning to prevent that attack before it even crosses between security zones. In this example, we see traffic on port 445 between these two desktop zones that shouldn't be communicating. And this is highlighted in red because these VMs don't have a security policy that protects them. So we can go back and view the details of this desktop zone 1 and explore the recommended security policies. So this will create a policy applied to these VMs, and the inbound rules all look fine. Nothing to worry about here, and these VMs won't be able to communicate with each other. Now on the outbound side, we see that desktop zone 1 has communication to a network that it shouldn't, and we can just uncheck the allow button here, and then click proceed, and this policy will be pushed down to Prism Central in monitor mode. So we could navigate to Prism Central after the policy is created and then apply it to protect our desktops. Finally, let's look at the last step in the process that crippled our organization, where the attacker encrypted our business-critical files. Using Nutanix files, you can protect this data from being overwritten with built-in capabilities to detect over 4,000 signatures and automatically block these malicious actions. In this example, we detected the pattern of this ransomware and blocked the file open operations. These are just a few of the tools that Nutanix has available for protecting against malicious actors. With Flow Security and files in place, we've successfully prevented the ransomware attack by breaking multiple links in the attack chain. Back to you, Ketan.
Thanks, Jason. That looked truly very simple. Back to you, Rajiv.
Impressive demo, Ketan, and really underscores the importance for customers to adopt a multi-layered security posture. Now let's shift gears a bit. With digital transformation accelerating, we have more data being generated everywhere, in the cloud, on the edge, and in data centers. How can we help our customers with that, Ketan?
Sure, Rajiv. Now, data is in our DNA. Our vision is to deliver a rich set of data services for all workloads and all variety of data. Really start with a scalable, durable, ultra-fast platform that's designed for the most data-intensive applications where speed and quantity are the primary challenges. We're enhancing our platform across 3 key innovation vectors. First, workload-centric innovation. Here, we're making it easier to onboard large, scale-up databases onto our platform without requiring any changes in the way databases consume storage. A new data sharding architecture results in 2x faster performance. Second, technology-centric innovation. Here, we're embracing blazing fast media. We're offering our customers systems with Intel's Optane and NVMe drives, and we're enhancing our software to optimally place the data, resulting in 30% faster reads. Finally, we're taking a huge leap with our platforms. We're refreshing our portfolio-wide platforms with Intel's Ice Lake processor and AMD's Milan processor, resulting in higher core density, higher memory density, and faster cores. Now, when it comes to data services, we're committed to your freedom of choice. The data services accelerate virtualized applications running on HV or VMware, as well as containerized applications running on Carbon, OpenShift, or other Kubernetes solution. Next, let's take a look at big data analytics. Organizations are increasingly looking to harness their data for new insights and new opportunities. The challenge with the big data is not just volume and velocity, but also variety of data. We're introducing 2 major advancements to make it vastly simpler for our customers to run analytics workloads on Nutanix. First, we're introducing a streamlined storage mode called Replication Factor 1, or RF1. RF1 results in up to 3x faster performance, 3x larger data sets, all while reducing costs. With RF1, you can accelerate Cloudera, SaaS, and other analytics applications that manage their own resiliency. Now, for customers running modern cloud-native workloads, they can use Nutanix Objects, our S3-compatible object store. Nutanix Objects delivers high-performance, petabyte-scale object storage that powers your data lake, where you can run Apache Spark, Presto, and other analytics engines against. We're adding two powerful new capabilities to our object store. First is S3 Select that dramatically accelerates query performance, especially for structured data stored inside object store. Second, we're adding an S3 adapter along with an optimal objects copy that results in faster batch processing and faster indexing. This also enables Hadoop to be able to directly read and write to objects. Now, what does all this performance and scale do for you? To learn more about that, I'd like to invite a customer, Victoria Hurtado from Kern Health Systems. Victoria, welcome. Could you please introduce yourself and your organization?
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Hurtado. I'm the Senior Director of IT at Kern Health Systems and have been with Kern for about 10 years now. Kern Health is the largest health payer in Kern County, California.
Given the healthcare background, what were your IT business objectives that led you to HCI and Nutanix?
KHS is dedicated to improving the health of our members. My perspective is that technology can be an accelerator to enhance patient care and a perpetual drive for improvement. For many years, we leveraged traditional three-tier storage architecture and were faced with many challenges in upkeep, maintenance, and scaling as our business grew. We came across HCI in our network and quickly identified its simplicity and non-disruptive upgrades, along with scaling. Those benefits really resonated with my team and I. As part of our data center modernization, we evaluated Nutanix and other HCI vendors. Nutanix was the best fit for KHS. Its reputation, word of mouth, and technical reports helped us finalize our decision.
Got it. That was a very thoughtful approach, Victoria. What's the current state of the environment? What workloads are you running, and what are the outcomes you're seeing?
We are running Nutanix all-flash and hybrid systems with Leap for our DR and data protection. Our objectives were to handle a vast quantity of data and, most importantly, ensure that our system performance enhances the service and quality of our patient care. We started our journey with a few critical systems on Nutanix without notifying our users to determine if they would be able to identify any performance issues. We tested for about 90 days. We then moved several large workloads, including our medical management system, claim processing system, and EDI processing. We also moved business critical SQL Server databases, which was a considerable amount of member data that is on Nutanix. Complex activities such as claims loading now take half of the time than they did before because of the considerable faster compute that we have with Nutanix.
That's really great to hear. Now, the past year has been challenging for everyone with the pandemic. The word resilience has been used a lot. You being an IT leader in healthcare, what does that mean for you?
Overall, we've been thinking a lot about business continuity. We upgraded our DR plan, leveraging Nutanix built-in DR capabilities, Leap. This gave us a quick 30-minute recovery time objective and able to achieve our regulatory compliance. With the pandemic forcing us to telework, we were able to quickly implement our Citrix on Nutanix with all of our users and seamlessly transition to remote work with very little or none of our productivity being lost. Additionally, with the increased security risk and vulnerabilities we all face today, many cybersecurity insurance companies do a deep dive into your DR plan. With us leveraging Leap, we were able to keep our insurance because we had a suitable plan in place.
Victoria, I want to thank you for your insights and thank you for the amazing work you and Kern Health are driving.
Thank you very much.
In my conversations with customers like Victoria, one trend is unmistakably clear, which is the exponential growth of unstructured data that leads to runaway cost and spiraling risks. We at Nutanix are focused on a unified storage solution for both files and objects to simplify data management in any location, at the edge, in the data center, or in the cloud. We're adding two major advancements to our solution. First, we're adding support for intelligent tiering to help you manage data growth and reduce long-term retention costs. With support for cloud tiering, you can transparently move files or objects to public or private cloud storage, including Nutanix Objects, Amazon S3, and Azure Blob, all while retaining a unified namespace. Second, we're strengthening the native data protection for our file solution. We're adding Smart DR or share-level DR with 1-minute RPO, and we're enhancing the recovery with near-zero RTO, along with self-service restore capabilities that empower end users to be able to restore their own files without any administrative intervention. Finally, I'm super excited to unveil Nutanix Data Lens. Data Lens is a new data governance service that's designed to empower you to be able to manage your data growth as well as protect your data against security risks. Data Lens provides global visibility into your unstructured data on Nutanix, including deep insights into data age, data type, usage and access patterns, and more. Armed with these insights, you can perform cradle-to-the-grave data lifecycle management. You can protect your data against threats, including ransomware and suspicious activity. And you can streamline audits and compliance for your data. Now, when it comes to Data Lens, we're just getting started. There's a lot more value to be created for our customers ahead. With that, back to you, Rajiv.
Thanks, Ketan. So some great new capabilities around unstructured data. Now let's talk about structured data, and in particular, database services. Databases, of course, are one of the most important workloads for customers across private clouds and public clouds. In a recent IDC survey, more than 60% of CIOs said that they would prefer to have common tooling for the database management across private and public clouds, but only about a quarter of them actually had the capability to do so. That's a problem that our Era product seeks to address. As our CEO, Rajiv Ramaswamy, said yesterday, we are extending our leadership in database services with some exciting new capabilities in Era. This includes seamless migration of databases onto the Nutanix platform with no complex reconfiguration. So it makes it really easy for customers to take their existing databases and move them to a modern hybrid multi-cloud platform. We also added support for one-click storage scaling with zero downtime. So customers can now resize their databases with no downtime whatsoever. Something that used to take weeks earlier can now be done with a single click. And we also have enhancements around security and resilience with support for things like role-based access control, secure sharing of databases, and database management operations. And for resilience, we are adding support for multi-site Era deployments so that customers can seamlessly fail over between sites for a truly highly available database as a service solution. To tell us more about these new innovations in Era, please welcome Jeremy Lanier, Senior Director of Product Management for Era.
Hi, Rajiv.
Hey, Jeremy. So for customers who don't know what Era is or who are new to Era, tell us a little bit about what Era does.
Sure. Era, first and foremost, is database as a service. We started a journey around 3 years ago to help simplify database management for our customers, whether they wanted to run them on-prem, in the cloud, or across clouds. And that meant really focusing on APIs first and creating a service pane, a single pane of glass where they could really manage their databases with consistency, be able to control them, at the same time have mobility of their data.
So what kind of problems are we addressing for customers here?
Yeah, great question. Many customers have problems with managing databases, particularly on-prem, and the challenges range from initial provisioning of databases for new use cases and new applications to managing existing databases that are already the backend for many business-critical applications. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of administrative work that has to go with maintaining those databases. Backup recovery, patching, upgrades, scaling, data management, and the like.
What about databases in the cloud? Can we help with that as well?
I think we can. Databases in the cloud, for the most part, have already been significantly simplified with managed DBaaS, but they still have challenges. There's challenges of data mobility across cloud providers, and there's also challenges around control. In many cases, organizations, customers, they want to be able to get in and touch the OSs, make tweaks to the database software to optimize for their application stack, to provide better interoperability with their applications, and those are the areas where we can make a big difference with Era.
Let's talk a little bit about the more recent innovations and how we can help customers with some of the stuff you've done recently.
Sure. In the last couple of releases, we've really focused on two key areas of innovation. The first of which is to extend our entire service plane such that it can be deployed highly available across clouds and across regions. The second key area of innovation has really just been to double down on database depth, the depth of database automation. And a great example of that is the work we did with Microsoft SQL Server to really support provisioning of highly available multi-site SQL Server always-on deployments.
That's great, and provisioning is an important capability for Era, of course. But what about day two issues that customers might run into, pains around scaling and performance?
Great question. And this ultimately comes up in almost every customer deployment. At some stage, the database exceeds its original design. They start to fill it up, and that's really becomes critical to start to think about how do they scale the database, whether it's a scale-up database scenario or whether they need to scale it out. And I actually have a great demo to show you, a demo that's going to show you how we can very simply, as a one-click experience, scale out underlying database storage as an online experience with no downtime.
In this demo, I'm going to show you how easy it is to recover a large 5 terabyte, highly available Postgres environment that is spanning both on-prem and the public cloud. In this example, I have a writable database on-prem, a synchronous read replica on-prem, and an asynchronous read replica in the cloud. Let's go to the console of the primary database, and we'll run some commands to check and see the latest data that's been added to the database. You just notice the timestamp here. Now I'm going to make an admin mistake, and I'm going to accidentally delete that critical database data. You'll notice that the subsequent query fails as a result, and because this is a highly available replicated database, this deleted data has been wiped from primary as well as all the read replicas. So let's go back to Era, and I'll show you from Era how we can quickly recover this data. So select the database in question and click on the restore link. This restore process can be kicked off from both the GUI console as well as from an API. And you'll also notice that we will capture any logs present on the storage of the DB instance. This allows us to minimize any data loss during the recovery. The time involved to capture any logs present on the system is usually in the order of minutes, but it does vary depending on the amount of logs and the speed of the storage. Once that's done, you can choose the specific time down to the second that you want to recover. And in this case, I'll recover to just before I accidentally wiped my data. Once you've started the process, you can click on this link and you can see an audit trail with a detailed task breakdown of the restore operation. And note here that we're recovering the data in a smart and space and time efficient way on both the primary as well as on the secondary replicas. But for the purposes of recovery, we really just care about the primary and getting our application online and connected to the database with the restored data as soon as possible. So that's done in less than 10 minutes. Let's click back to the console and we can take a look at the database with the recovered data. And as you can see here, the data has been recovered to just before I had wiped it.
That was a great demo. What else can you show me?
I have one more surprise for you. So another challenge that customers face is the challenge of their data. As their data sizes get larger and larger, and they shift from a couple of terabytes to tens, if not hundreds of terabytes, there's a big problem around how they can back those up in a reasonable time frame and how they can recover in a more reasonable time frame. And so the demo I want to show you is how we can take a highly available, large 5 terabyte Postgres environment. It's running both on-prem and in the cloud, and how we can recover it quickly with minimal data loss.
In this demo, I'll show you how easy it is to grow the storage capacity of highly available multi-cloud SQL Server environments. This database has less than 10% free disk. So let's go to it and let's add more capacity. This particular database is running both on-prem and in Amazon, and it's currently using 2.4 TB of space. We can grow the data and logs space independently, as well as insert custom scripts. Finally, you can model out this entire scaling operation in the GUI and translate that into the exact API call. In fact, we support this for all database operations in Era, not just scaling. So let's grow the capacity by 500 GB, and then we'll kick off the operation. You can track the status of the scaling from this audit trail, where you can see the exact activities. The important thing to note here is that scaling and growing storage for databases can be a complex endeavor, especially with best practices. Doing that for highly available databases that span multiple clouds can be incredibly complex. We're making that whole process simple in one click. In fact, as we apply and grow storage for the on-prem writable database and the read-only replica in Amazon, we are applying the exact same settings and configurations, both at the storage level, the OS level, and the database level, so that all the best practices are followed. Looks like the scaling is complete. It's worth noting this is an online operation, so there was no downtime as part of the scaling. And you can see we've now grown the capacity, available capacity, to 3 terabytes.
Another great demo. I'm sure customers will appreciate the ability to recover their databases gracefully in the case of a human error or a disaster. Now, in addition to all the capabilities we've introduced, we of course continue to work with our partners to deliver a best-in-class database as a service solution. So before I hand it off to Monica, let's hear from one of those partners, HCL.
Hi, my name is Piyush Saxena, and I run hybrid cloud business for HCL. HCL Technologies is one of the world's top system integrators, helping enterprises globally imagine their business for the digital age. We have been closely working with Nutanix since 2015 to bring to market best-in-class hybrid multi-cloud solutions. The solution we are particularly excited about is the secure and cloud-ready ScaleDB service for enterprise databases, powered by Nutanix Cloud Platform and Nutanix Era. Our customers automate management operations for databases like Oracle, SQL Server, SAP HANA with ScaleDB. Thanks to Era, we are seeing clear benefits such as reducing database management time by up to 90%, 8 times faster time to production, business uptimes of near 100%, and over 60% lower total cost of ownership. We are excited to partner with Nutanix to bring the innovative ScaleDB service and the power of Nutanix to organizations across the globe.
Thank you so much, Rajiv, for taking us through HCI innovations and database services. Now, Rajiv covered one hybrid multi-cloud platform for any app, any workload, and specifically talked about databases, business-critical applications, and analytics. Well, it's really important to note that the Nutanix Cloud Platform is also ideal for many other workloads, such as end-user computing, edge, and remote office branch office, and cloud native. We have many breakout sessions that you can attend to get more information. Now, let's pivot to cloud innovations. To talk about that, I'm pleased to welcome my good friend, Thomas Carnelli, SVP of Product Management at Nutanix. Welcome, Thomas.
All right. Thank you, Monica. In this last segment, we're going to talk about our cloud innovations. Now, you heard from our CEO, Rajiv Ramaswamy, about our vision, which is to make clouds invisible. And by that, we mean making cloud complexity invisible. We do this using our Nutanix Cloud Platform, which encompasses hybrid cloud infrastructure, cloud management, our built-in data services, like unified storage and database services, and our desktop services. Now, what's key here is you want to think about this as a set of solutions that can be applied on premises for your private cloud, in hybrid cloud, and increasingly for your workloads running in public cloud, hence hybrid multi-cloud. Now, why is hybrid multi-cloud such a big topic for us? It really goes back to what we see in the market. And this is data from Gartner that shows that 75% of customers and surveyed companies are looking to move to a hybrid and/or multi-cloud model. Out of companies already using public cloud, more than 80% are actually using more than 2 cloud providers. But what's also interesting here is the vast majority of applications are set to stay on premises, now and in the foreseeable future. This really is what informs how we think about cloud innovation, dealing with this complexity, right? And basically eliminating this complexity and giving you solutions that allow you to go and get a consistent cloud operating model that you can apply for all your applications wherever they're running, whether it's at the edge, in private cloud, in hybrid cloud, or in public clouds. Now, to get us started into our first segment, focusing on hybrid cloud, let me welcome Savin Pakala. Savin, it's great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
All right. So, hybrid cloud. A year ago, we launched clusters on AWS. This was our first foray into this set of solutions. Can you remind us, what the solution is about and what's so great about it?
Absolutely. In a nutshell, clusters is Nutanix software stack delivered on the public cloud. It includes our AOS hyperconverged infrastructure, AHV hypervisor, and Prism management plane. What makes it special is the fact that it provides a common infrastructure and a common management plane between private and public cloud, helping customers accelerate their hybrid cloud journey. Customers get the freedom to run their applications anywhere in this hybrid multi-cloud environment while keeping the operations simple and consistent between private and public cloud, delivering on the service levels with respect to security, resilience, and performance, while protecting their investment by leveraging the portability of Nutanix software licenses between private and public cloud. So that's in a nutshell clusters for you.
No, I love it. I mean, hybrid cloud on your terms, right? You stay in control. It's your software, your licenses, your cloud account, right?
Exactly.
That's pretty special.
Yep.
Now, we've been in the market for a few quarters now. We've seen customers adopt the solution. Can you tell us more about the use cases we're kind of seeing pop up and the type of benefits customers are getting from this offering?
Yeah, there are 3 use cases that have emerged to the top. The first one is disaster recovery, where organizations are looking, to leverage public cloud for DR purposes, rather than own and maintain a secondary data center on their own. The second use case is on-demand elasticity, where organizations are looking to consume infrastructure on demand for bursty use cases such as test dev and seasonal workloads. And finally, migrate and modernize, where organizations are looking to start their app modernization journey by first migrating the applications as is to the public cloud without any code refactoring, and then modernizing relevant components on a piece-by-piece basis at their own pace. By enabling these use cases and more, we believe clusters provides a simpler, faster, and a more cost-effective path to hybrid cloud. Recent IDC and ESG studies show that you can deploy a hybrid cloud with clusters in less than an hour. You can get 76% faster time to value and 51% better TCO over a 5-year period compared to other alternatives.
Very nice. Now, we've also been working on the solution itself. Can you tell us more about the type of innovations we brought to clusters on AWS?
Absolutely. Over the last few months, we have been expanding the availability of clusters in AWS. We added support for new AWS regions and new instances in those regions. We also added support for AWS GovCloud with FedRAMP moderate authorization for our US federal customers. We also added support for a feature called Elastic DR to improve the total cost of ownership for disaster recovery. Instead of mirroring your primary data center as is to the public cloud, the idea here is that you start with a small pilot-light DR cluster, just enough to hold your data, and then dynamically expand the cluster to host the workloads that are failing over from the primary site when the disaster happens. Conversely, when the primary site comes back up again, you can just as easily fail back the workloads to the primary data center and shrink the cluster size in AWS. To see how simple this is, let's look at a demo. Over to you, Laura.
Thanks, Savin. I'm Laura Giordana, a technical marketing engineer here at Nutanix, and what I'm going to show here today is how we are able to leverage Nutanix crossplay playbooks to automatically trigger a workflow that will expand a Nutanix AWS cluster and fail over some of our on-premises workloads to the newly expanded cluster in AWS. So here we can see that I have a Nutanix cluster running on AWS bare metal with 3 active hosts named Elastic DR. Within Prism Central, I am managing this AWS cluster along with a couple others, and I'm also managing an on-premises cluster called Nutanix Private Cloud. I have a recovery plan set up that specifies the primary location as Nutanix Private Cloud and the recovery location as our AWS cluster Elastic DR. And I have a playbook that triggers based on an alert and performs 3 actions when this alert is seen. First, it adds 3 nodes to our AWS cluster using a script. It waits for the nodes to be added, and then finally it executes the recovery plan via an API call. So let's see this in action. In order to trigger the alert, I'm going to log into one of my controller VMs and shut down a core service, which will trigger an alert that the cluster services are down. This alert will in turn cause our playbook to execute, and we can see that it's currently executing. It's in the paused state. This means it's already in the waiting step, so the script to add the nodes has already been executed. From the clusters page, we can see that the expansion was successfully triggered, and our cluster capacity is being updated. So this, of course, will take some time, so we'll speed it up a little here, and we can see that the nodes have been added to the cluster and are finishing up the provisioning process and are booting up and joining the cluster. Once they're added, the playbook that we set up will trigger the recovery plan, and we can see that it was successful. And we can also see that all of the VMs were migrated and powered on in the recovery location, and are now protected on the AWS cluster. So now, as easy as it was to expand out the cluster, we can easily recover that capacity once we are back online. So I'll first trigger a failover here to migrate the VMs back to our on-premises cluster, and then we can reduce the size of our AWS cluster from 6 hosts back down to 3 hosts.
Thanks, Laura. That was awesome. It showed us just how simple it is to dynamically right-size the cluster and improve your TCO. We're further improving the TCO with a feature called Hibernate Resume for bursty use cases where a burst of activity is followed by a period of inactivity. The idea here is that you spin up a cluster, use it for some time, and when you're done, rather than delete the cluster, you can simply hibernate it. And what that does is that it takes all the VM data, all the configuration data, all the state, and puts it in S3, and spins down or stops the bare metal instances and avoids any associated cost with it. When you need the cluster again, you simply resume that hibernated cluster, which would be a much faster activity than starting from scratch. What makes it even more compelling is the fact that the speed of Hibernate Resume has increased by almost 3x with the latest AOS release.
Oh, this is fantastic. By the way, I love Elastic DR, because to me it's a nice combination of what we have in our platform around built-in disaster recovery and leveraging cloud to go and get elasticity and reduce cost. Now, we've also been working with our friends at Microsoft over the last few months, right? So, and we had a big announcement. Can you tell us more there?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to bring clusters to Microsoft Azure. As you heard in the keynote yesterday, we announced that we are in preview now. We're going to start with 2 US regions and then soon add other regions for worldwide coverage. At GA, clusters is going to be available through Azure Marketplace, and customers can take advantage of hybrid cloud benefits from both companies. Over the next few months, we're looking to engage with our early adopter customers and help them get a first-hand experience of the solution. Customers can create net new workloads or migrate existing ones into clusters on Azure. To see just how simple it is to migrate an existing workload from on-premise to clusters in Azure, I'm going to turn it over to Laura for a short demo.
Thanks, Saveen. So let's take a look at how easy it is to move workloads to the public cloud with Nutanix clusters on Azure and Nutanix Move. So we can see here I have a list of my Nutanix clusters running in the cloud, running on both AWS and Azure. Let's drill into our Azure cluster to get more details about it. I'll hop into the Prism Central instance that's managing my Azure cluster, and drilling down into the cluster, we can see that we are running 23 VMs, 3 of which are the controller VMs. Jumping into the Move UI, we can see all of our environments, including this Azure cluster, and we can start a new migration plan. We'll select the source as our on-prem vCenter cluster and our target as the Azure cluster. Now we can select which VMs we want to move over. We're going to select 3 VMs, 2 web VMs, and 1 SQL VM. We'll select our target network. It'll check for capacity. We'll enter in any VM-specific information, review the summary, and we can go ahead and save this migration plan and kick off the migration. The move process will take snapshots of the source VMs and send them over to the Azure cluster. Once the migration is complete, the VMs will still be running on premises until the cutover happens, at which point the VMs on premises will be quiesced, do a final data sync, shut down, and then come up on the Azure side. So when we're ready to cut over, we can cut over these VMs, and it'll take a couple minutes for the final data sync and to shut down the source VM and bring it up on the Azure side. And then at that point, we can see that these VMs are now running on our Azure cluster. So with Nutanix Move, it's super simple to migrate your VMs from on-premises to the public cloud.
All right, thank you, Laura. We're really excited about the preview of clusters on Azure. There's a lot of pent-up demand for this. We're seeing customers looking to go and waiting for us to get this available. And we're looking forward to go and onboarding you on the solution. Now, what this last demo showed is really how easy it can be to move applications from on-premises to public cloud using clusters, right? And this benefit here is you don't have to make any changes. The application is as is, and will move to public cloud. This is great for traditional applications and business-critical applications. But you can't talk about hybrid multi-cloud without talking about modern applications and cloud-native applications. When it comes to modernizing applications, and what we hear from customers is that can be a tricky proposition. On one side, you've got your developers. What they're looking for is their own preferred set of platform services. They want easy access to data services, and they really don't want to think about infrastructure. On the other side, you got your IT teams, which are running infrastructure. And what they're looking for here is consistency, security, something that's simple to operate and scale. Our goal, put simply, is to make the Nutanix Cloud Platform the best platform on premises to build and run cloud-native applications. Now, you already know our portfolio. We have our Congdon offering, which is our built-in Kubernetes solution running directly on AHV on top of the cloud platform. But we're known for providing customers options. We do this on the infrastructure level. We're going to do it for developers also. What we've been working on the last few months is building out the ecosystem of cloud-native partners that can go and run directly on top of the cloud platform. Let me go double-click on a couple of them. First one being Red Hat. We announced a few months back a strategic partnership with Red Hat. We see OpenShift as the preferred enterprise Kubernetes solution to run on our platform. They see Nutanix as the preferred HCI to run OpenShift on premises. What it means for you is the fact that you now have fully certified, fully supported AHV to run Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and OpenShift directly on AHV. You get joint support, you get the performance and scale and simplicity of our platform, and you get the built-in data services that we have in the platform to go and complement your OpenShift cloud-native applications. Now, we're going further than this. We're also working to make it easy to go and spin up those environments on an existing Nutanix cluster. Prism is being enhanced to go and have a marketplace of applications. In there, you get our own services, but you also get access to built-in partner solutions like OpenShift here in the preferred partner row at the top. To deploy one of these, you simply would click on the tile, configure a few parameters, hit launch, and that will spin up your OpenShift cluster on top of Nutanix. You do the same thing to get objects deployed, or the same thing to get Era and database as a service deployed on your cluster. All in all, making it very easy for you, IT teams, to get a simple, quick stack to go and support any OpenShift type application on premises. Another area of focus for us is, again, partnering with Microsoft on bringing Azure Arc on Nutanix on premises. We've had this out there for a while, but what's more recent is we're now supporting Arc-enabled data services being deployed natively on top of our Carbon stack. This allows you to go and use Arc to simply spin up Azure SQL, get them deployed, maintain them, patch them, and so forth, again, using Arc, that cloud control plane, while you're actually running on premises. And this really kind of hits on that third leg of hybrid multi-cloud, which is the question of cloud management, and getting consistency of operations across all those environments. Now, to help us talk about this, let me welcome Anindo. Anindo, great to see you again.
Thanks, Thomas. Good to be here.
All right. So what can you tell us about the challenges that customers are running into when it comes to cloud management in a hybrid multi-cloud world?
Absolutely. So when we talk to our customers who are in their hybrid multi-cloud journey, we're seeing them struggle with the choice and complexity. And one of our goals is to really make sure that their life on this journey is simple, and we do through a unified experience of cloud management.
Cool. So we've been working on this for a while, right? I mean, some of this is not completely new to us. Can you share more in terms of what we have today and where we're going?
Absolutely. So the cloud management is an area which is really fast growing. Gartner and Forrester and other analysts are covering that. And it's a multi-billion-dollar TAM where we've been invested for a long time. We have capabilities in AI ops where we're able to take observability data from any cloud platform, and then we're able to derive signals and are able to drive actions to help them improve automation and operations. We have Calm, which is a really great capability in helping customers simplify the ability to deploy applications anywhere they want. And the self-service features and the governance features help them manage their infrastructure and applications. With Beam, the cost governance capabilities gives our customer a single pane view of how they're spending across private and public cloud. And Security Central helps them know their security exposure, be it on AWS or Azure or Nutanix. So these are the capabilities that we've been investing in over a period of time, and then that's something that we do not only for Nutanix stack, but we're helping with multi-cloud management where AWS, Azure, GCP, and even VMware, wherever our customers choose to run their workloads, we're able to give them a single pane to manage the cloud.
Yeah, so that's actually nice. The way I think about this is kind of bringing the simplicity that we're known for, the Nutanix user experience, to your multi-cloud environments, right? Now, what can we share about the most recent innovations that we've done in our current portfolio?
Absolutely. And one of the things with Cloud Management Portfolio for us is really focusing on giving that value through a SaaS platform engine. So the cloud management capabilities supporting multiple clouds through a SaaS engine, and that's where some of the recent innovations have been. Calm released its Calm SaaS deployment that helps customers be able to manage multiple workloads with an engine that does not need to be deployed on-prem. Beam has always been a SaaS platform, and we recently added support for GCP. Overall, continuing on our journey of creating a cloud management capability that is truly hybrid and SaaS. With that, I'd like to call Laura to give us a demo on cloud management.
Thanks, Anindo. So what I'm showing here is our SaaS-based interface that allows us to view and manage all of our environments across regions, regardless of whether or not it's in the public or private cloud. Like we saw in yesterday's keynote, I'm managing 4 environments, 1 in the public cloud with Nutanix clusters on AWS, and 3 on-premises clusters across the United States. This interface lets us manage not just the underlying infrastructure, but also the services and applications on top of it. So from the My Apps page, for example, I can see all of the applications and services that have been deployed to my environments that I have access to, including my SaaS-based applications like Calm, Frame, or Beam, or applications I've deployed into the public cloud. So for example, navigating to Calm, I can launch an application into any of my configured public cloud instances. And these don't have to be Nutanix clusters on AWS or Azure. I can launch my application into the cloud provider as native VMs running in that cloud. So for example, looking at the services in this Calm blueprint, we configure the account to which these VMs are provisioned. And I have several accounts set up here, including Azure, AWS, GCP, VMware, and one of our Nutanix on-premises clusters. So these are configured with our Azure account, meaning these VMs will get launched into Azure as compute instances. So let's go ahead and launch this application. And we can, of course, keep an eye on the progress by using the Audit tab. Now, how do we manage the cost of all these applications we're launching into the clouds? From the menu here, we can navigate into our Beam account, and we have this visibility into our cloud spend across our various cloud accounts. And this now includes GCP support, so we have a true multi-cloud dashboard showing overall spend across clouds. And we can, of course, drill into the specific GCP accounts we want to get more information about, such as the services we're spending the most money on, deeper cost analysis, etc. Now, what about security across our clouds and environments? From the same menu, we can access Security Central, where you can easily gain visibility into security compliance across your entire multi-cloud environment. Security Central supports some of the major industry standard security compliances across clouds, such as PCI DSS, HIPAA, and others, depending on the cloud provider. So for example, I can drill into the CIS benchmark for AWS, and we can see the areas we need to focus on. So for example, I can drill further into the details for identity and access management, and we can see that we have several issues on some of these rules. So let's take a look at one of these. So for multi-factor authentication, we have 65 issues, and these are all our IAM users without MFA enabled. And it will show us how we can resolve these issues and return to compliance. Now finally, let's say you have some vCenter environments that are running on non-Nutanix platforms. So now we can manage and monitor these environments directly from Prism. If I come over here to Monitoring Configurations, I can see the external entity I have configured. Currently, you can configure a vCenter server or Microsoft SQL Server to monitor. With the monitoring in place, I can easily see information about the vCenter cluster configured on this vCenter server. So even though this cluster is not running on Nutanix, I can still manage it. So from the VMs page, I can filter by my non-Nutanix or external vCenter VMs. And I'm further filtering by just showing the powered on VMs in this vCenter cluster. So drilling down into one of these VMs, we can see that it's running on the Sabine 59 cluster in vCenter. We can, of course, see all the information here in vCenter, so we can see it's configured with 2 gigabytes of memory. We can also see this over on the Prism side. And so what we can do with these non-Nutanix environments is we can run Nutanix crossplay playbooks against the VMs, hosts, or clusters on these external servers. So for example, I can call a playbook that will increase the memory of this VM from 2 gigabytes to 3 gigabytes. And once the playbook has completed running, we can see the memory increase on both the vCenter and the Prism side. So as we've seen, we've taken the original Nutanix Prism design principles and elevated them to create our hybrid multi-cloud management plane, allowing you the ability to manage your infrastructure and applications across public and private clouds, including systems not running on Nutanix, all while monitoring cost governance and security from a single interface, making it very easy to manage your hybrid multi-cloud environment.
All right, what a fantastic demo. Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Anindo. So we covered a lot of ground in this segment. We started with Savin telling us about our innovations around hybrid cloud, clusters on AWS enhancements, elastic disaster recovery, and then getting to preview with clusters on Azure. We then talked about modern applications and cloud-native applications, and the fact that we're working to go and make the Nutanix Cloud Platform the best on-premises environment to support all of your cloud-native applications. This with a broad ecosystem of partners, complemented by our built-in data services. And last but not least, we closed by covering and talking about cloud management and the importance of getting a consistent user experience across all of those environments, wherever your workloads are running. So with this, I want to thank you again for your time, and I'd like to welcome back Monica.
Thank you, Thomas. That was great information. Now, to recap, we've made significant advances across the entire Nutanix Cloud Platform to help enterprises build modern data centers, to speed your hybrid multi-cloud deployments while supporting all your business-critical applications. Specifically, we announced the availability of AOS 6, along with key features like built-in virtual networking, enhanced disaster recovery, and security that otherwise would require additional specialized hardware, software, and skills. Most importantly, all the functionality is managed through a single interface which significantly decreases your operational overhead. Now, we also announced few capabilities that make it easier for customers to simplify data management and optimize database and big data workloads, specifically the performance for these most critical applications. These capabilities deliver up to 2x storage performance increase for database workloads and 3x for big data workloads, without requiring any complex reconfiguration. And we also announced Nutanix Data Lens, a new unstructured data governance service. Our database service Nutanix Era now delivers one-click storage scaling and rich database access control for database management across entire hybrid multi-cloud environments. Now, last but not least, we announced the preview of Nutanix clusters on Azure. We demonstrated the expanded support for AWS, elastic DR2 cloud, as well as cloud-native solutions, and a unified cloud control plane. As you can see, we've been working hard and fast for you. Now, we've been firing on all cylinders to deliver this differentiated, unified hybrid multi-cloud platform to enable you to manage any application, anywhere, at any scale. And to do this with unparalleled simplicity, scalability, choice, and portability. Our compass is your success, and we will continue to be guided by that. Now, I want to remind you that we have a lot of great breakout content available on demand. Also, take a spin and experience our products with our immensely popular Nutanix Test Drive. Now, I want to leave you with a compilation of what our customers think are the benefits of using Nutanix for hybrid multi-cloud. Enjoy the rest of the show.
So our internal customer is the application teams that support the British public in the job centres, and the service expectations on my team is pretty high, and we have a 24-hour support team. The demand obviously has skyrocketed. We went from thousands of applications for certain things a week to tens of thousands a day.
And what are some of the benefits that you found from moving to a hybrid cloud strategy?
The government sort of released this cloud-first strategy a while ago, and by cloud-first they meant public cloud, and it really limited some of our workloads. Some of our workloads just can't go in public cloud, and that's for the security of the data that's in there, the latency of the application that needs to be talking to the private cloud services. And some of the services they're not cost effective to go up there. So we need that flexibility within the organization to choose where we want to put our workloads.
And any unexpected benefits that you found?
We had a workload that went into public cloud. It was planned out and everything like that. And then the expenditure just immediately went through the roof. It exceeded budget and everything. So we had to redesign it. We moved part of it back on premise. We kept part of it up there. And not only did we get back under budget, in fact, we went under and saved the department, I think it was about £1 million over the course of the year.